We have owned Polyseal since 2016.
Poseidon, god of the sea, please accept this new vessel in your registry called Polar Seal.
For the last 6 years, he has taken us all over the world, from Stockholm in Sweden, down to the Mediterranean, across the Atlantic to the Caribbean, and then back across the Atlantic 2 times, and now here. I'm not actually going to tell you where we are, I'm going to let you guess in the comment section. I recorded a first tour of Polyseal back in 2018 when we first left the dock in Stockholm. Hi guys, and welcome to the tour of Polyseal. And since then we have done so many upgrades. He is a very, very different boat. So I thought that it was time to do an updated tour, and I'm going to take you through all of the systems, the layout, what we like about Polyseal, the things that we would have done differently. It's a bad idea. By the door. And this is probably going to be a little bit of a long video, so if you'd like to jump to the sections that are of interest to you, feel free to go in the description of this video and click on the timestamps that are of interest. And before we climb on board this rolly beast today, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Vessi.
Vessi shoes are slip-on, slip-off, super comfortable, and 100% waterproof. And if you have any doubt about how waterproof they are, let me show you what happened when these shoes arrived. Feel inside. Are they wet?
No, they're dry.
Yeah? Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They look good.
Yeah, they look good too.
I really like mine.
As you are about to find out in this video, Polyseal is a very small space, and I do not have the room for a giant collection of shoes. Which is why I love my Vessis. They are versatile, super comfy, and they go with everything I wear. The basis of my wardrobe is a pair of white sneakers, and my Vessi Weekend in marble white are perfect for boat adventures, our day-to-day life, and even evenings out in town. But with every pair of white shoes, they won't stay white forever, which is why I'm so glad that my Vessis are machine washable. So if you want to get your own pair of waterproof, cute and comfy Vessis, go to vessi.com/RyanandSophie and use the code RyanSophie for 15% off your pair.
So thank you Vessi for sponsoring this video and making it possible for us to continue to make them. We really appreciate it. And with no further ado, let's get on board.
So we're going to start on the outside of the boat and go from bow to stern. And first we're going to start with our anchor setup. We have a 25 kilo rock nut anchor with 300 feet of chain. That's about 100 meters. All chain, no rod. And then we also have a Fortress backup anchor that we keep in the stern locker. With the anchor, we also have a snubber, and a snubber is a line or a bridle of lines that takes the pressure off of the windlass and puts it onto the boat. So it kind of provides shock absorbing while also make sure our gear is protected. But as you can see on Polyseal, the bow cleats, which you attach the snubber to, are fairly far back. So one of the improvements we made was adding these fairleads up front. That allows the snubber to be pushed forward and protects the anti-fouling on the bottom so the snubber doesn't rub against it. So now we're going to go into the sail wardrobe on Polyseal. On board the boat, we have 2 head sails, a mainsail, a downwind sail, and a storm sail. For the head sails, we have 100% jib and 140% Genoa. We also have an asymmetric spinnaker, a storm sail, and our big, huge mainsail. So our mainsail is set up specifically for offshore sailing. It's made out of Dacron with reinforcements. It's a stack pack with a single lined reef. It has 3 reefs, with the first one being very deep, so it can almost act as a storm sail if we really needed to. After 6 years of sailing, we've really become opinionated about how our mainsail works and functions. A lot of people either have in-boom furling or in-mast furling. And we've found that the stack pack just gives us more flexibility and control over how we reef the sail and how we use the sail. So I think for this boat and any future boats, we're going to stick with this stack pack configuration. The sailing that we prefer to do is downwind sailing because frankly, it's just a lot more comfortable. But one of the challenges that come with downwind sailing is that the boom is out quite a ways when sailing, and thus the risk for jibing the boom or accidentally jibing the boom increases. And on Polyseal, I've installed a pretty easy to use boom preventer, which is just this piece of Dyneema that's tied to the end of the boom here and then strapped here to the front of the boom. And then it connects to a boom preventing line that's just down here. So the idea is that you never have to come forward of the mast in order to install the boom preventer. It's all right here, and that just makes things a lot safer. Okay, so now let's go into the cockpit. And one of the first things we installed on Polyseal to protect our cockpit was the Sprayhood, bimini, and full enclosure that goes around it. We got this in Sweden from a company called Cockpit Garage. Did I get it right, honey?
Yeah.
Yeah! And they did an amazing job building this. In fact, it was so amazing. We've ordered a second one from them. One of the great things about Cockpit Garage is that they have templates for most production boats, which makes their prices very competitive and makes the process very easy. So that's how we got ours. We just gave them a call, told them what kind of boat we had, and they sent us this, and it fit very good.
So one of the most major upgrades that we've done to Polyseal, actually pretty quickly after we embarked on our adventure, is to install our solar arch, which powers the boat, at least when it's sunny. So when Ryan announced to me that he wanted to install an arch at the back of Polyseal, my number one requirement was that the arch was going to be integrated in the push pit. And so that's what we did. It doesn't look like the arch was put on top of the existing structure. It looks very integrated. Our arch carries 680 watts of solar panels, and it also carries the davit system that allows us to very easily lift the dinghy in and out of the water. It's both for the integrity of our dinghy. We don't want it to get a lot of barnacle if it stays on the water for too long. The bad kind of barnacle, not our dog. But it's also a safety feature. We don't want our dinghy to get stolen, and it doesn't run the risk of being stolen if it's stowed away properly on the davits. And finally, we installed floodlights on our boat that are controlled with a remote. So at night, when we come back to the boat on our dinghy, we can easily find it by pushing the button and never again lose our boat in the fog.
Okay, so at this point we can't even see our boat anymore, and I genuinely do not know how we're gonna ride back to the morning boat.
All right, let's go over and have a look at the dinghy. Okay, so this is our dinghy. This is a Takacat 380 Sport. It is a catamaran dinghy that is fully inflatable, and it has a lot of advantages. The first one is that because it is fully inflatable, it packs really small and really light, which is great for us because we don't like to keep the dinghy on the davits when we sail offshore. The other reason why is because we have an electric outboard. Because it has less drag, it goes a little bit faster with the electric outboard. It's also super stable. You can literally step on any point of the dinghy and it stays stable. You are not afraid to tip it. And it holds easily 6 people. And if we really wanted to push it, I think that we could be 8. And having a dinghy that holds a lot of weight, oh my God. Hello, you. Whoa! All right, and now let's go on board in the cockpit and pray to God that the boat gets a little more stable soon. So the BENETEAU OCEANIS 40 features an aft cockpit with twin helms. The twin helms are okay for visibility, I guess, but the real advantage is that it really opens up the cockpit and allows us to have a big table, but also space for up to, I think, 10 people. We can also enclose the full cockpit and let our diesel heater on and have all the heat come up in the cockpit and turn this into another room in the winter when it's a little bit chillier, or, you know, in Sweden in the summer, because even in the summer, it's really cold in Sweden.
I want to go somewhere warm. This isn't warm.
There are a few things that we have upgraded in the cockpit on board Polyseal. The first one was I bought orange cockpit cushions because I was like, you only live once. The second thing that we did last year was that we added a layer of teak onto our table. Our table came in this gel coat, not very fun type of coating. And now we have this beautiful teak, and you guys, this is where we eat most of the time. So it's really nice to have not only a big table, but a table that's nice to eat on.
So without mentioning where we are, I just want to say that we are right next to an aquarium and there's a seal show going on. So you may hear some or in the background. So bear with me. So one of the advantages with the 2-cabin OCEANIS 40 is that we have this huge space under this lazarette, which I like to call the garage. So let's take a look. It's awesome. Although it's filled with junk at the moment. In this space, it's so big that we actually have a ladder and a big workbench here where I have all of my tools. We have some gas cans down here. We have our torpedo, some microwave, but we even have our Watermaker mounted in the back. So it's a very versatile space and gives us a lot of place to store things. Or. There we go. I have every handful. Okay, honey, I need some help.
Welcome to the Salon. This is a very multi-function space. This is where we live, where we eat, but also where I work, where we store a lot of our things, where we stow away food, where we navigate, where we watch TV. Over the years, we've made a few upgrades to the Salon. So for example, the upholstery that I'm sitting on is new from last year. One thing that I've learned having beige upholstery is that first, I like how it looks. It's nice, but on a boat, it's not gonna stay beige for a very long time. So what I've done is that when we get our upholstery ordered, I asked the upholsterer to make me covers in the exact same fabric. It looks completely seamless. And so if you ever have a stain or want to wash those things because they don't stay beige very long, you can just very easily take the cover off and wash it. Now, all of the cushions obviously the cover can be removed, but it's a real pain in the ass to put it back on the cushion. So, you know, preferred having covers on it that look seamless, that I can wash easily. It's actually been really good. All right, so under those cushions is where we stow away a lot of our food. In my last tour, I talked about how I really don't like those flimsy lids. Why can I not open the entire thing? And in the comment section of the tour, people are like, oh, it's a safety hazard. Yeah, well, it's been 6 years that we're on this boat. We haven't capsized, it's fine. If this were to fly away, we would have other concerns. So this is where we stow away everything that I don't need on a day-to-day basis, and it's pretty big, and we have the exact same one on the other side and on the other side of the Salon stable. So this is my workstation. And why is it part of the tour of our boat, you're gonna ask? Well, it's because if I had known 8 years ago when we bought Polar Seal that we would be living on board full-time and working as much as we do, I would probably have made different choices about our boat. I work in the Salon in the middle of everything, and my job requires quite a bit of focus, whereas Ryan's job is all about talking on the phone. And as you can see, there are not a lot of spaces on board that are separated where I can focus while Ryan talks very loud on the phone. But also my workstation is in the middle of everything, and I don't really have a place to stow it away when I'm done working. There is a lot of different pieces. So the one thing that I really miss on board is some kind of a permanent desk. So yeah, because you know, when we're done working, this stays here. And right now it's like the most tidy version of my workspace. But this is a good transition to what we do after we're done working, which is to watch TV. Yeah, I know. Ryan was completely anti having a television on board when we first bought the boat. The boat came with a small TV, and it was Ryan's idea to upgrade it to this monster. To be fair to ourselves, we did that in 2020 when we were on lockdown in St. Martin on the boat. What are you watching, Ryan?
Some football. Saturday football.
Challenge if you want to watch Netflix or HBO, which we found out about during COVID, is having internet to do that with. In 2020, during the COVID lockdown in St. Martin, the internet infrastructure was completely oversaturated, and well, we didn't have a lot of internet. But these days, we have Starlink, and Starlink has been amazing. Everywhere we go, we can get pretty high-speed internet, and it's completely changed our lives. It's changed our life professionally, but also in terms of the entertainment that we can get on board, both when we're at the marina, but also when we are offshore. Life-changing. I give it a 10 out of 10.
So in the Salon, we also have the nav table, and there's a lot going on at the nav table. We have our navigation equipment, our electrics panel, communication equipment, the radio, and even the heater control. So first, let's look at the navigation equipment. And probably the most important piece of nav equipment on board Polar Seal for Sophie and I is our autopilot. And that's because Sophie and I shorthand or single hand the majority of the time. So the autopilot is the most important crew member for us. About 4 years ago, before we did our first ocean crossing, Sophie and I made the decision to upgrade our old Raymarine autopilot to a new Raymarine Evolution autopilot. The reason we did this is because the new Evolution autopilot takes into account pitch, yaw, and roll and provides compensation for it. And with that, it allows the autopilot just to steer a lot better. This makes things on board a lot more comfortable as we're going through the ocean. But when we installed that autopilot, we wanted to make sure that we had redundancy, so we left the old autopilot in place. So we left the old linear drive in place. We now have 2 autopilot computers and 2 control heads, and all we have to do is flip a switch, and it will go from one autopilot control to the next. So if our autopilot were to fail, we can easily flip the switch and be on the backup autopilot. So on board Polar Seal, we have two chart plotters, the first being this Axiom Plus 7-inch, and in the cockpit we have an Axiom Pro 9-inch. And what's cool about the chart plotters is it's really a hub to display all of our navigational equipment. So as you can see here, we have our Navionics charts being displayed, but then we can also layer it with our Quantum 2 radar, so we can get a radar picture right on the chart. And in the harbor here, there is a lot going on. Our Quantum 2 radar is really cool because it's a solid state radar, so it requires no warm-up time. Our old radar used to take about a minute to turn on and get warmed up and start giving us a picture, whereas this, just push a button and it turns on instantaneously and uses very little power. The display also has a number of other cool functions, one of which is a camera feed that we have. So we have a Raymarine camera mounted below our Raymarine radar outside, and that's the image that you're seeing here, but you'll also see there's a number of other AIS targets that are displayed here. And that is through Raymarine's augmented reality system. So as we're cruising along, we can see where a ship is, what its name is. We can see other navigational markers that might be on our Navionics chart. So this is pretty cool because, well, all summer we've been navigating in the fog and very low visibility. So it gives us kind of an extra data point as we're looking off into the great white fog abyss.
Andy! Which way to the fuel dock?
So another cool thing this chart plotter allows us to do is interact with anything that's connected to our NMEA 2000 network, which is a backbone that's standardized and connects all kinds of navigation equipment. But one of the cool things it connects is our audio system, which I also recently installed. So we can turn on our Fusion radio, which is right here, from the system. It's turning on, and we can control the whole audio system from our chart plotter or from here. This was also another COVID add to the boat. Now on to our communication equipment. And for that, we have the latest Raymarine VHF, which also includes a wireless hub, which allows us to use this wireless handset all throughout the boat, which is super handy when you're trying to dock or take care of things and also have communication. So before our first ocean crossing, we needed to add some type of satellite communication device so we could get weather and communicate with shore while we were away from land. And for that, we used the Iridium Go, which is a satellite data hub. It allows us to have internet, but it also allows us to make phone calls while we're out in the open ocean. Slow internet, very, very slow internet. Now, I know Sophie said that we have Starlink internet, which is great while we're working, and it even works out in the ocean, but it's not always dependable. And in an emergency situation, we want to know that we can get a hold of someone on shore if need be. And this Iridium Go data hub has been awesome for that and has proven itself over the years to us. So in the event that the Iridium Go fails, and it has failed for us in the middle of the ocean, we also had this Iridium Extreme Sat phone, which we can pick up and call one of our shore support and get all the information that we need. We've actually used this before and it's super handy, just a little expensive. So the Iridium Go allows us to get emails, check weather, can't really watch Netflix, we can't really surf the net, we can't check Facebook, but we can make phone calls by tethering our phone to it. But in the event that this fails, and it has failed on us in the middle of the ocean, we have a redundancy, which is just this Iridium Extreme phone, which doesn't do internet. It can, but you need a bunch of devices. It really just allows us to make phone calls to call our shore support if we need to. So the last thing we have at our navigation station is our electrics. So we first have this panel. Now this used to be a BENETEAU standardized panel and I got sick and tired of it. So we upgraded it to this much more robust panel and we can control all of our lights, our pumps, our refrigerators. We can also control our 220 volt AC system. The other cool thing we have is this touch panel display from Victron, and it shows everything that's going on with our electric system. So from how much power we're getting in from the shore power to our solar panels to how much power we're using. And it even shows us our tank levels. So how much water we have left and how much fuel we have left.
How's our fuel gauge?
Our fuel gauge works sometimes. So above the display is our battery monitor, which displays the state of charge of our house battery bank, which I just redid this spring. It's a very complicated system, but I'm going to take you in the back cabin and show you what I've done. Okay, so let's go in the aft cabin. So this is our aft cabin. It's huge. This is almost a king size bed, and it's worked great for us. But the only problem is after 6 years, for me to sleep on that side of the bed, I have to crawl over Sophie, and that gets a little bit annoying. But we do have this nice polar seal. But that's really not what's cool back here. I'm going to show you what's cool. That is our electrical system. So this spring we upgraded our electrical system, and that was a very big project that involved many things. But one of the things we did was upgrade this battery box, and we upgraded our lithium house bank. So we went from 680 amp hours of Dakota lithiums to 840 amp hours of Dakota lithium batteries. One of the reasons we did that is because lithium battery technology is always changing and evolving. So the new batteries that we have out right now are much more dense, meaning we can get more power out of a battery in a smaller space. But this DL Plus line also has the ability to have a starter function, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So we put these 3 batteries here as our house bank. We also have a 4th one of these back under the bed, which acts as a backup battery. So if this house bank were to go down for any reason, let's say one of the cables had a problem, or if one of the BMS is shut down, we can just flip a switch here and it will take us to a backup bank where we can just run critical systems off of. The other thing that we did was cleaned up this battery box, because after years of living on the boat, we've never really had the chance to just completely shut everything down and rewire all of this. So we cleaned it all up, made it look very nice and very organized. The last thing we did was we changed out all the other batteries on the boat. So we had a lead acid starter battery for the engine. We also had lead acid batteries for the bow thrusters. So with this Dakota Lithium Plus line of batteries, we now have the ability to start the motor with it. And we can also run our bow thruster with it, which has been awesome. So now everything on board Polar Seal is lithium. Oh, and if we even need to, we can even start the engine with the house bank. One of the really interesting things that the lithium did with the bow thruster is it provides instantaneous power. So when you push the button, the boat just goes boom! And that was a bit of a surprise to us when we installed it.
Do you like the electric system, Barnacle?
You like this, Barnes? Oh, yes, you do. So Polar Seal is a French-made boat, and because of that, it has a 220 AC electrical system on it, meaning that it has European plugs and is available to use European-type appliances like a hairdryer or a microwave. But with us being in the United States now and some of our appliances getting a little bit old, I thought it was really important to have a second 110 AC system on board. This allows us to charge from the marina, but it also allows us to plug in a US hairdryer or a US computer, so we can use everything on board Polar Seal no matter where in the world we are. So we installed a number of these 110 volt outlets throughout the boat. So we have one in here, one in the galley, one under the chart table, and one in the settee, the Salon.
And what's running on this one right now?
The Starlink. All right. Oh, and then there's the engine. Oh man, I've done so many upgrades to this boat.
Did you upgrade the engine?
Not the engine, but a lot of things in the engine compartment. So this is the engine aboard Polar Seal. It's a 40 horsepower Yanmar, and it looks a little bit like a hot rod. And one of the reasons it looks like that is because a few years ago, we added a high output alternator to support the electrical system. So this is a 180 amp hour Mark Gracer alternator, which I love. And unfortunately, he doesn't make them anymore. But in order to get that to run correctly, we needed to add a pulley system to the engine. And that's what these cool looking things are for. The alternator on here has been just amazing. We're able to charge up our whole battery bank in just a few hours. And this summer we've had to use it a lot because, well, the sun hasn't been shining, and so we haven't been able to use our solar panels. So this has been a great upgrade aboard Polar Seal. But with all that engine running, it causes a lot of noise, and Sophie really doesn't like the noise. So last spring I upgraded all the insulation aboard Polar Seal to make it just a little bit quieter. And if you're interested in that, you can check out the video above. So here's our starter battery. This is a 130 amp hour Dakota Lithium Plus. And you can see that this is the battery box for the original lead acid battery, which was actually less amperage than this one. But this is half the size, so I've had to fill the space with little foam noodle pieces just so this doesn't move around. Onward! Where are we going next, baby? To the bathroom? What's in the bathroom?
What's in the bathroom, you ask? Well, the answer is simple. Simply the best toilet that money can buy. It's actually a pretty small bathroom, so I'm not sure that walking in there right now is appropriate. I don't know. I'm just gonna stand in the shower. The shower head is dripping on me. So one thing that was very important for me when we bought the boat is that I wanted to have an actual shower space and not just one of those like, you know, wet toilets where you can pull a shower head out of the tap. That was not going to cut it for me. So we have an actual shower space here. Normally there is a door if you order your boat with the correct option package. And apparently there was an option package available for the OCEANIS 40 in 2007 that allowed for no door in the shower. And I'm here to tell you, it's a bad idea. Buy the door. But overall, having a dedicated space shower is probably the reason why we've been able to live on this boat for as long as we did, because I could not have done without my daily shower. So this is my Jabsco Quiet Flush E2. It is the latest version of the Jabsco electric toilet that you can buy, and it is the full version. It is not the compact model. So when it comes to marine toilets, there's a lot of different things that you can get. For the last 6 years, we have been using a manual pump toilet in the compact format, which is much smaller, and I hated it, okay? I hated it. For 6 years, I had a blister on my thumb that was permanently there because of how much I flushed this stupid. So this spring, I installed this full-size electric toilet, which flushes with the press of a button. It is amazing. The one thing that can be a little bit bothersome with electric toilets is your ability to maintain them or repair them if something goes awry. So the great thing with this toilet is that you can access the pump very easily on the side. It clicks in place. So if anything were to happen with our macerator, we could very easily unlock it, just pull it up and troubleshoot it. Now, the way that I go about it is that I simply do not allow toilet paper or anything else than a number 1 or a number 2 to go through the toilet. And we haven't had any problem with it. It has been phenomenal. It has been fantastic. I love having a real size toilet. It is just the best thing ever. It just is. Oh, and also it does that. Look at that. Oh, yes. Amazing.
Where should we go next? Where there's poop? Where does poop come from? The galley!
Oh my God, that was such a gross transition. All right. Okay, so this is our galley, and this is probably the number 1 reason why we get a BENETEAU OCEANIS 40 2 cabins in the first place. Normally in a 3 cabins version, you will have a door here with another cabin, but in this boat we are able to have a galley that is probably bigger than most galleys from boats that are even bigger. We have lots of countertop space. We are able to have 2 fridges, and actually this is our front-loading fridge. And this used to be an ice box, which, trust me, you don't want to have an ice box on a boat. Our ice box was more a place where vegetables would go to rot or dough would go to rice. But a couple of years ago, Ran updated it to a full freezer, and we have the ability to choose whether we want it to be a fridge or a freezer. Needless to say, it's always a freezer, because ice cream is delicious. I want to have ice cream on the boat. This is our stove. On board Polysteel, we have a gas stove with a gas oven that is mounted on a gimbal because monohull, and we go on tilt. Whenever we heel, we sail upwind. But we also have an induction hub. Now, technically, we have the electric capacity on board to go full-on electric induction and electric oven. But I feel like this would be a very complicated upgrade, so one that we have not done. But having an induction stove, which is like literally a portable induction cooktop that you buy for 50 bucks anywhere, allows to not only save gas, but also to have a third burner whenever I want to cook a little bit more. When we entertain, when I cook dinner, whatever. It's great. Okay, so another thing that really sold us on this boat is the double sink, which makes it a lot easier to do the dishes. Yep, it's been 6 years that we do the dishes manually, and yes, I absolutely miss having a dishwasher on board. But we did a couple of modifications to Polyseal's sink that make it a little bit easier to do the dishes. So for example, Ryan installed this tap a couple of years ago, which allows us to pull this thing out and get a better angle on the dishes when we want to rinse things that are bulky or give Barnacle a bath. Very handy. Great upgrade. You can also see those two taps here. This little thing here used to be a test tap for the Watermaker when we had the first version of it. And this is our filtered water tap. So Ryan installed a carbon filter under the sink that feeds this tap. And so for drinking water, we have this little tap. And talking about water, it is in our galley that we have the control panel for our Watermaker. Our Watermaker is a Seawater Pro Watermaker that we installed in 2019, right before we started doing a lot of offshore sailing. No, actually we installed it before getting into the Med, because marinas were outrageously expensive there and we wanted to have the self-sufficiency not to go in the marinas. We didn't always used to have a panel. The panel was an addition that we did later. Seawater Pro is the IKEA of Watermakers. They supply you with a kit that you install yourself. And it is made out of parts that you can find at hardware stores, as opposed to buying an off-the-shelf Watermaker, which requires proprietary parts anytime that you need to do maintenance or you want to replace something. We have had this Watermaker for 4 years and it has been amazing. In terms of affordability, it is just so much better than anything else, but also in terms of maintenance, because we've been able to find filters and different parts everywhere we've been. It's been really easy to maintain. 10 out of 10, we love our Seawater Pro. If we were to get another boat tomorrow, we would probably have another Seawater Pro on board. Okay, I kind of need to get outside of the shot because the thing that I want to show you are in there. Wait, let me see. Can I do that? Yeah, okay. Okay, so two other things that I love about our galley is first, our microwave. When we bought the boat, I thought that having a microwave was ridiculous because who needs a microwave when you have a stove? And I was very, very wrong. Having a microwave is amazing because it's convenient. And on board a boat, there is nothing more comfortable than convenience. You'll see here, this little control panel is what allows us to operate our fridges. So we can choose to only have one fridge at a time or have both fridges, but we can also control the temperature of both fridges here. And then there is my spice rack, which is really something that I found on Amazon. It allows us to save so much place in our cabinets, but also I think it looks good. And you know, a hallmark of a cruising boat is that you have spices from lots of different countries, an assortment of different jars, and yeah, this is my spice rack. Okay, maybe I have a couple more cool things to show you. The first one is this lamp, which is an LED rechargeable lamp that allows me to have better lighting in the galley, also from Amazon. And this is not actually a small thing, but I have 3 plugs in the galley at that counter, 2 American plugs and 2 European plugs. So I can run absolutely whatever appliance that I need. It's fantastic. All right, we are almost nearing the end of our tour of Polyseal because, hey, it's a 40-foot boat, it's pretty small. And we are going in the V-berth. Normally, what I would have done is to lure you into believing that we live in a tidy boat. But really, what the V-berth is storage. On occasion, we have guests or crew that come visit us, so we try to clean this up and find room for everything that's on the bed somewhere else. But this is what it normally looks like, not gonna lie. So my entire wardrobe fits in this cabinet and it's not very big. This is a vanity slash desk. We never use it as a desk because of this wall here. If you are right-handed, you constantly have the wall in the elbow. It's not very nice. But in this vanity here, I keep all of my skincare products. On those baskets over here is where I store my hairdryer and all of the beauty things that I like to use because I wouldn't live on the boat if I didn't have the ability to do that. So underneath the vanity here, we have a little poof that serves as storage space. This is where I put my shoes. On occasion, when we have guests in the salon, we'll take this thing and use it as an extra chair for a guest, but that's the extent of it. This is our laundry hamper, and it's pretty full. And I have no excuse because in the V-berth, we also have our washing machine. Actually, it's more than that. It's a full washer dryer. It holds 3 kilos. Here, let me show you how it works. It sings This is a Daewoo Mini. It's a 3 kilos wall-mounted washing machine. It is mounted straight onto the hull with some reinforcements in the back. We actually hired a professional to help us install it. Yay! Hello there! This is a combo washer and dryer, and we are going to install it on Polyseal. And our lives are about to change! It costs $700. And the comment section of the video in which we described the installation process and reviewed it is full of comments asking me where to buy this. I think that Daewoo has actually discontinued some of the production of this washing machine. You can still find some on eBay. What I can tell you, on the other hand, is that it has been fantastic. Laundry was the last piece of the puzzle to make us completely self-sufficient. Whoa! Oh my God! Doing the laundry when you sail the world can be a real pain in the ass, but it also can be really expensive. You never really know what you're gonna find wherever it is that you go. Sometimes you have to walk 3 kilometers with 30 kilos of laundry and pay about $100 to do your laundry. It is a budget. So this little thing has been amazing. 3 kilos is a really small load. We can't do much at once. In terms of the water consumption, it consumes 30 liters per load, which is very efficient. Because it is installed somewhat close to the water line, Ryan installed an extra pump to pump out the water from the machine, and it goes back to an outlet under the sink. But overall, 10 out of 10, really been amazing. Love our washing machine. But you want to know the absolute best upgrade that we've ever done to our boat? It's this one. It's Barnacle. Hey Barnacle. Are you a good upgrade? So that was it. That was a tour of our beloved Polyseal. And if you have watched this video until the end, I am really impressed. That must have been a really long watch. But if you are interested in any of the kit that we talked about on our boat, be it our electronics or our Watermaker, you can click at the link in the description, which will take you to a gear guide that we have on our website that shows all of the things that we have used and loved in the last 6 years as we have sailed the world from Stockholm to... Did you get where we are now? Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to Vessi for sponsoring this video, and I look forward to catching you in the next episode.